Hey everybody, it's Chris from Beer Bearings. Welcome to Friday, another beer of the week. I'm back at home this week. I was out on the road last week visiting my folks. You may have seen that video where I was sitting outside with that beautiful backdrop behind me in Virginia talking about the beer from 1781. The beer is not from 1781, that's the name of the company. Back home this week where I belong, and I'm talking about a New Orleans beer, and in fact, I guess I still have Jazz Fest on my mind, which the festing in place part of which anyway ended last week. And that's because I'm now doing Mango Freeze from Zony Mash. And the Mango Freeze refers to the Mango Freeze that WWOZ sells out at the fairgrounds during Jazz Fest. It's delicious little afternoon treat for you to cool off and maybe retreat a little bit under a tent and have a Mango Freeze and listen to some jazz or blues or gospel in one of the big tents out there. And this beer is an homage to it. You'll be able to see on the label there's a little interlocking pattern of mango freezes on it. It's a sour that's fruited with mango, and it's got some lactose too. So I'm expecting it to try to kind of replicate the flavor of the mango freeze. And I just had one of those a couple of weekends ago. There's a local company here that was producing and selling some of the Jazz Fest favorites. So you could go grab those, have them at your house while you had on WWOZ. It was pretty special and pretty nice. Can't wait for the real thing. So let's talk about the beer. Let me get it open for you and have a taste. Again, it's a fruited sour. We've talked about these before. There's certainly no shortage of these around. I can already see the color is going to be Mango Freeze-like. Yeah, totally got that really pretty kind of light orange mango color working. This is a freshly rinsed glass that I'm using right now. I want to make sure I get the label turned around properly here. So again, mango and lactose. Let me get a taste and a little aroma for you. Give it a swirl. Definitely mango right away. You get that lactic sort of sourness also. It's pretty close. It's pretty close to the Mango Freeze. The lactose that's in there offsets the sourness a little bit and comes right in behind, but it's still pretty tart. So it's in that respect, it's a little bit different from a Mango Freeze, but this is supposed to be an homage, right? It's not supposed to be a replication. This is a really great tribute to the Mango Freeze for sure. One more taste just for fun. Yeah, the lactose in this one is not overpowering. Some of these beers with lactose tend to get super sweet, but this is not one of those. This is one where the balance is really there. And if you've been hanging out with me for a while, you know that balance is pretty important to me in a beer. So this is a kettle sour. So what they're going to do is make their wort. They're going to inoculate it with lactobacillus, let it do its thing, consume some of those sugars, and make lactic acid. Probably overnight is usually about the normal process for these. Going to come back in the next day, boil that wort, and finish it out. Send it to the fermenter. They're going to add probably mango puree in this case and drop in some lactose as well. Again, lactose is not fermentable by ale yeast, so that sweetness is going to remain behind in the final beer, which is going to, depending on how much they use, which is going to add some sweetness to the final product. So those are the basics about how they make it. Fruited beers are really nothing new, and in fact, you could argue that in the Middle Ages, before people started using hops in beer, they were using a fruit and spice mixture. It was called gruit, and it was a little bit different everywhere, but it was what they were using to offset the malt sweetness in beer, and must have been pretty strange and unusual stuff, frankly. Hops come along about 1,000 years ago. That changes, but certainly the Belgians and a lot of continental beers either have fruit additions or they will be augmented with fruit at service. And the American craft beer movement, if you will, has really jumped on that bandwagon and taken fruited beers off in all kinds of different directions. So there are beers that are like this one that are finished with a little bit of fruit so that there's some more fermentable sugar in here and you get the flavor of the fruit, all the way to things that are really heavy and heavy-bodied, so like smoothie beers almost. So all kinds of things that have fruit in them, certainly Belgian lambics and those styles, Kriek and framboise and all of that, you're going to find sort of traditionally made in Belgium. So all sorts of opportunities to have fruited beers. There are plenty of American examples that use things like cherries and blueberries and Satsuma. Satsuma is a big one around here. So fruited beers, nothing new. Almost always these days it seems like you get them either in a sour or an IPA. You get fruit either in a sour or an IPA. Certainly this is a great example of a sour. The weather's starting to warm up a little bit. Apologize for the noise. Low-flying plane coming over. Always the way. So that's just a little bit about how this is made and about fruited beers in general. I really appreciate you joining me this week. If you're watching me on Facebook, please have your friends come over and join the group and join the discussion. It's National Craft Beer Week, so I'd love to hear what you're doing around beer this week, and I'll have a post or two coming up this weekend about that. And also, if you're watching me on YouTube, I would really love it if you would like and subscribe to the channel, and also invite your friends to come and take a look. Thanks so much for being with me this time on Beer of the Week, and I'm looking forward to seeing you again. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.